Hello and welcome. Just want to say congratulations on taking the step to grab this video course. My goal here is to help you understand how to kickstart your book to bestseller status in depth. Now, I'm going to make this as simple and straightforward as much as possible so that you're able to implement and take action without being overwhelmed. So let's get started. This is video 1, introduction, and just a quick overview. We're going to cover the videos themselves and give you an overview of that so you know exactly what to expect. And when you begin to implement this, you'll be able to do it at a faster rate. We're going to go over mindset. I want to make sure that you are in the right mindset before you get started. General strategy and what you need to get started. So this is video number 1. Video number 2 is going to be on conversions basics. We are going to cover proofreading and editing, as well as book cover conversions. If you haven't done this already, you'll need to make sure that you do this. If you haven't done it because you haven't launched it on Amazon, then great. You'll be able to understand this for your book now that you're doing or your future books. Video 3 is categories and keywords. We're going to cover how to pick and choose the correct 2 categories and 7 keywords. And to understand this, I am going to basically explain the concepts through PowerPoint slides. And then I am going to jump from that point to show you step by step over my shoulder screen capture videos so that you know that each and every one of these videos I'm going to do my best to explain the basics and then jump right in so that you can see step by step what to do. So I want you to be aware of that. Video number 4, we're going to talk about reviews, what you should do and what you should not do. What you should not do to avoid breaking Amazon rules, because the worst case scenario is you do something that Amazon doesn't want and they basically take down your book. So you still are in a way under the realm of Amazon and they still have control over your book, even though it's self-publishing. So video number 5 is social media. Number 6 is book social networks. Number 7 is book blogs. Number 8 is giveaways. Number 9 is your buyer's list, which is crucial. A lot of people tend to forget that. Mindset. A lot of book authors, maybe you, have thoughts, build it and they will come. That kind of mindset you've got to get out of your head. This is self-publishing, so you have to do pretty much everything. And also, you're basically your own business owner. Now, while Amazon has their marketing system that works really, really well, you still have to give it a jump start. And I'll show you how to do that. The first thing you'll need to do is focus on increasing your conversions first. It's very, very easy for us to jump straight in to trying to drive traffic, trying to get people to our site. But the first thing you want to do is focus on conversions first. Basically, what that means is that when people grab your book, or they're about to grab your book, or they're on your landing page thinking if they should buy your book, that's all about conversions. How can you appeal to them to a point that they really want to take action and buy your book? Or while they're reading your book, how can you retain them from getting a refund? So that's all about conversions. Once you have mastered that, which is very simple and very basic, we can move on to focusing on driving traffic afterwards. But I want you to get in the right mindset that you cannot just build it and they will come. You got to focus first on increasing your conversions first. Then focus on driving traffic afterwards, not the other way around. A lot of people get confused, or they get really excited and focus simply on driving traffic. People come to their book, they think, nah, I don't really want it. Or they buy the book, and worst case scenario, they buy the book and they want a refund. So we want to be able to do 2 things, convert and retain. So here's the general strategy. Step number 1, we're going to basically cover editing and proofreading first. This is part of retention, because when somebody is reading your book and they feel like your book is not grammatically or spelling correct, then they may return the book. Some book readers are very, very picky like that. So I'm going to show you how to outsource that so you don't have to do it yourself. Step number 2 is book cover conversions. People do judge a book by its cover, and unfortunately that is the truth with Amazon books as well. So we want to make sure that when people see your book, they know exactly what it's going to be about, but it appeals to them and grabs their attention so that they take action. Step number 3 is the marketing blueprint. And as I showed you earlier with the video's overview, exactly what all those are going to be: the social media, the social networks with books, book blogs, and more, your buyers list and more. And that brings us to building your following. A lot of book authors think, okay, I'm going to drive a lot of traffic, that's it. Going to make a lot of sales, that's it. Well, what about the people that read your book, that really like your book, and want to keep up to date with you if you launch a book in the future? How do you go about doing that? I'm going to show you how to do that. And then, of course, once you have done that, when you release your book after that, a new book and a new book and a new book, you can simply rinse and repeat. The next thing you'll need is your book ready to be released in your best shape. And when I mean in your best shape, you've done all you can to fix it and resolve it and things like that. You're going to need to have money for editing, proofreading, book outsourcing in terms of book conversions, the book cover, and time. And you got to do this wisely. You don't want to spend tons and tons and tons of money. My goal here is to show you the cheapest routes, but the cheapest in the sense that you get the best quality. You still want the best quality for the cheapest price. You're going to need the internet and perseverance. And with that said, let's move on to video number 2 and cover conversions. Hello and welcome to video number 2, which is conversion basics. In this specific video, we're going to talk about what needs to happen before you begin to drive traffic and market your book. Without this, you will blindly hit the bullseye. So in other words, you have to focus on the conversions and make sure that you can increase the conversions as much as possible so that when you do drive traffic and you do have a potential buyer that comes to your book sales page, they are more likely to buy your book. Or if they bought your book, they are more likely to avoid refunding your book. So there are 2 things that we want to cover today. The first thing is editing and proofreading. Now, this might be seemingly obvious, but one of the biggest mistakes that most people forget to do is this. They forget to do proofreading. They feel as if the book author can go out and proofread and that's fine. But in reality, you want to find a professional. Instead of you and you alone doing the editing and proofreading, you want to do the editing and proofreading yourself, but that should not be the final step. The final step should be hiring a professional proofreader to proofread your book. Now, I'm going to actually show you places that you can go to get it done for cheap. And I know this tends to be a big question and a big roadblock that a lot of book authors face, because frankly, a lot of proofreaders out there charge a huge amount of money. But if you really know how to differentiate the difference between somebody who just proofreads in terms of the grammatical and spelling errors and somebody who actually proofreads your book in terms of the way that your book is laid out, if it really makes sense, and things like that. So the thing you want to do in terms of approach is you want to focus on flowing your creativity out through your book. And then, of course, edit yourself, and then afterwards go out and market it, not the other way around. Then, only then, what you can do is go through it once, have a friend that likes the topic read it. Now, notice I say likes the topic. You don't really want to choose just any friend. You want to choose a friend that actually is interested in the topic at hand. Otherwise, they are not really going to like it per se. They may not like it. They may find other things that really somebody who would be interested in that specific topic, it would stand out to them. So you want to make sure you find somebody who enjoys the topic at hand. You want to then re-edit that particular book, then outsource your proofreading. Let me show you exactly step by step where to go, how to do it, and things like that. Now, there are two different sites that I personally use in terms of finding good proofreaders. Now, you have to keep in mind that there is a difference between somebody who simply checks your spelling and things like that, and some people will only check your spelling, they won't check your grammar. So, some people, on the other hand, will only check your grammar and spelling. They won't check if the sentences around the other sentences really make sense. What you want to find if you go to Fiverr.com is somebody who can proofread the grammatical and the spelling errors. If that's the case, then you can actually find somebody who will do it for a fairly cheap job. Now, I've used this person here, they've done a great job, and this person here as well. You can actually contact them if your book is longer than such amounts. You can say, hey, I have a book about this amount, and what kind of deal can you cut me? That way you're not paying the certain amount that they have listed. So, for example, they're charging $5 for 2,500 words. If that's the case, then let's say you have 2,500 times 10. If you paid up front, it would be 5 times 10. So that would be $50. But what I normally do is I would contact them. Sometimes these people will give you like half off, but you have to contact them and negotiate with them first. So Fiverr.com is a great place to go, and you can even say, hey, will you proofread it, not just for grammatical spelling, but also for sentence structure, how your book is laid out, and things like that. Because you want to get somebody who can not just do spelling and basic grammatical checks, but also take a look at your sentence structure and to see if that sentence fits in that particular chapter and things like that. Now, if you want to do that, you'd have to pay a little bit more, and you might want to head on over to a site called odesk.com. And at this point, you can click on Hire Freelancers, type in proofread book, and I would say use the same approach. I would contact them and say, hey, can you do the spelling checks, grammatical checks, as well as sentence structure and things like that. Now, in terms of weeding out people, I want to choose a perfectionist in terms of writing. So 4.5 stars and above is good. Hourly rate, I would say anywhere up to $20 an hour. I would say any hours. No, I would say 1 hour at least. But if you really want to get down to somebody who really has experience, you could do 100 plus hours. And then, of course, any location. What I found is usually North America is good, depending on where you're located, obviously. So I'm located in North America, so I'm going to choose North America. Now, I don't want to fully weed out somebody who might be really good at their proofreading. For example, you wouldn't probably never believe this, but people in the Philippines, there are a few people out there that have really good, grammatical proofreading and stuff like that, those types of skills. So just be aware of that. And you don't even have to specify any location, but what you do want to do is you want to start opening these in different windows. And a proofreader is normally a type of person who is a perfectionist, is very detail oriented. So you want to kind of look for somebody like that who is very concerned about their work. So we can take a look at their work history, what kind of work they have done, their tests that have taken. And for example, English spelling test, we want somebody who has a higher percentile score, maybe 80% and above. If we don't see that, we can always move on to the next person. For example, this person has an English spelling test 85% and above, 97% for English tests for the UK, English vocabulary and UK vocabulary very, very high, as we can see here. So this would be a good candidate for us to contact and talk to. Now, before you actually hire them, you definitely want to talk to them and take a look at what they have edited and proofread in the past. Get an idea of what they have done and see if it's something that is similar to yours. If you can find somebody who has done something similar, possibly to your book or a similar area related to your book, that's a plus, because then you don't have to find somebody who doesn't have experience in that area. So you found somebody who has experience, you don't really have to retrain them. They have the experience, they can go out, do it. You don't have to waste your time and things like that. So 4 things to look for. I don't even read this stuff. I just skip over it. Number 1, work history and feedback. Have they done what you need to be done? Number 2, take a look at the test taken. Number 3, if they do have a portfolio, take a look at that. You need to have an account to view their portfolio. And of course, number 4, contact them and then talk to them and get an idea of if they can really do what you're looking for. And that's it. Now let's talk about book conversions. Once you have in hand a book that has been proofread and finalized and it's ready to go, there's one thing that you still want to look at, which is the book cover. In order to get your book to convert fairly well, you need to have, the book, some sort of summary, but most importantly, the book cover. Because people, unfortunately, do judge a book by its cover. And your book cover is the first thing people will see. So you want to make sure that you choose your images and your book designer and creator wisely. Because when somebody looks at that book image, it has to appeal to them. It has to appeal to that particular audience. And at the same time, it has to be congruent with what your story or what your book is all about. And when I mean congruent, when somebody looks at your book cover, they are going to have some sort of assumption. And that assumption, when they buy the book, they expect to have that book fulfill their answers, answer their questions, solve their problems, and this and that. So if it's a fiction book, obviously it's not nonfiction. If it's fiction, it's meant to entertain. If it's nonfiction, it's most likely meant to solve a problem. But what I mean by that is you want to make sure that your book is aligned with the book content itself. And because you want to avoid refunds, if your book cover is about a picture, let's say, of a dog, maybe a golden retriever puppy being trained, and your book is really about something else like dog training, not necessarily puppy training, and specifically a golden retriever puppy training, and it's not specified on the front cover of the book itself, you may get some refunds, because the expectation is that somebody is looking for a golden retriever puppy training book, but instead they got something slightly different. So they will be upset and most likely refund the book. So that's why book conversions are so important. Now, unless you can really create a stunning cover yourself, it's better off to get a professional to handle it for you. Let me explain and show you exactly where to find a book designer that can do a very good job for you. Okay, now there are two different ways that you can do this. Number one, you can outsource this to a graphic book designer. And that's what I highly recommend that you do. Simply because the design that you're going to get back is going to be very customized to your liking. And there's some stuff that book designers can do that we as non-graphic designers just cannot do. So it's just better to get somebody who knows what they're doing and really enjoys what they're doing versus you trying to do it yourself. Now, there are template systems out there where you can get pre-made book templates, or you can even use a book templating system, which I'll show you as well. So I want to provide you with two different routes that you can take, but I'd highly recommend that you take the first one. So there is a particular site that I use called odesk.com. Odesk.com is really awesome. You're able to find freelancers, which are basically people who will be doing work for you. In this case, what we want to do is we want to type in book graphic design or book covers and this and that. So we could say book cover graphic design. Click on search. And this is the type of criteria that I use. I want anybody with 4.0 stars and above. Now, to be strict, if I can't find anybody, I'll move it up to 4.5 stars and above. So I'm going to choose that. Hourly rate, I found that anybody with above $5 at least. I don't want anybody below that, just from experience. But you can try any variation that you want. So we're going to say $5 to $20 per hour. And you can do two different types of projects. You can do fixed term projects and you can also do hourly projects. But this is just a way to weed out people who may not have as much feedback. We're going to just say 1 hour. In terms of hours billed, that means that they have had projects in the past. You can also do 100 hours plus hours. That means people who have been on Odesk for a long time. Location, you can pick any location that you want. In this case, we're going to leave it as it is. Now that I'm done with that, what I'll normally do is this. I will normally begin to open these up in new windows. Now, you can't really see that right now because I have my browser in such a way, but you can set it up. And we're going to open these tabs up. And my goal here is simply to open all these tabs up so that I can get a better bird's eye view of the types of people that I'm dealing with. So you can see overview here to get an idea of what they can do, but I don't really look at that. I look at the feedback and the work history because that really tells you what they have done. And if they have experience in certain areas like create space cover designs. If you want to do Amazon create space, this person has previous experience, which means you don't have to retrain them or ask them to do it and learn it from scratch. So find somebody that can already do it. That would be great. Now, in order to see their portfolio, you have to have an account. I would advise you, if you don't have an account, go ahead and create an account. Now, you can also see the skills that they have, but most importantly, the tests that they have taken. So I tend to look at the portfolio, the work history and feedback, and the tests that they have taken. So as you can see, English spelling test is about 16 percentile, which is great because that tells us if we give them a specifications of exactly what book cover we want, most likely Eugene will be able to come back and understand exactly what we want. Now, MS Word test, that doesn't really matter because we want somebody who is fluent with Adobe Photoshop. So he is 57th percentile of Photoshop. Now, I would do the same thing. I would scroll down, look at every single person, get an idea of who may be a good candidate. And what I would normally do after that is I would think, okay, I found a bunch of people that have really good skill sets that I need. Now what you want to do is simply post a job and then invite them to the job. Now you can't actually contact them until you invite them to your job to apply to your job. So you have to have a job position open in order to contact them. When you contact them, you'll invite them to your project, and then they of course can contact you, talk to you, and so forth. But that's just the way that I use in order to find a good graphic designer in terms of books. Is number one, make sure that they have experience, and number two, make sure that they have good feedback and work history, and number three, take a look at their tests and skill sets, and number four, take a look at their portfolio to see whether their style of design is what you want, because not all the graphic designers out there will have the same style. Everybody has a different style, so you got to keep that in mind. There's a site called getabookcover.com which will allow you to purchase affordable pre-made book covers. And as you can see, we clicked on the thriller category for this specific site, and you can see a lot of pre-made book covers that you can just simply buy and then customize them and get somebody else to customize it for you at Fiverr.com if you want to do so. Another site is called damonza.com, and at this point you can find somebody who will actually do the ebook cover for you, so it's not really you do it yourself. Now, moving back to a do-it-yourself type site, there's a site called selfpubbookcovers.com. This site will allow you to actually customize your book. Let me give you an example. If we click on thriller/mystery, you can actually see book covers that you can customize, sort of like the previous website that I showed you where you could actually purchase the book covers and customize them. But in this place, you can actually buy one, use their system that they will allow you to use to customize the title, the author name, the subtitle, and things like that. So this is another option that you can take if you want to go down this route. Hello and welcome to video number 3, categories and keywords. If you want targeted traffic, you're going to need to choose the right categories and the right keywords so that your future potential buyers can find you easily. If you have the wrong categories and the wrong keywords, obviously those people who are interested in your book will not be able to find you. And that's one thing that a lot of people tend to miss. When they upload their book, they're all excited, they're all gung-ho, that they forget to use proper categorization and keywords. And I'm going to show you in just a minute how to go about doing this. So basically, when you submit your book to Kindle, for example, you will be allowed to choose 2 categories for your book. So you want to make sure that you choose them wisely. Choose them wrong, then you're not going to really get targeted traffic. So another thing I want to mention is that whatever categories or keywords that you use, you want to realize that it's good to optimize your book landing page, which consists your book summary, possibly your bio, and things like that. Your book summary, your book description, and things like that that pertain to that specific book. That area needs to be optimized in such a manner that it contains the keywords that you are using and the categories that you're using. If you can do that, then it's a lot more optimized. So you can use the keywords in your title, your book summary, your book description, and basically on that page. Now that you have a basic understanding of this, let's take some action. Let's go ahead and go to Amazon, and I'm going to show you how to pick and choose your categories and your keywords simply by taking a look at your competition. Now, before you go out and try to find the keywords or categories that you want to use, you want to get an understanding of how the Amazon system works in terms of the traffic flow, where buyers come from, and things like that. If we take a look at the Kindle section or the Kindle ebooks, you can see that they have the bestsellers lists, monthly deals, daily deals, editor's picks, Kindle singles, and things like that. So people can find your book through here, or if they simply click on one of these books, for example, this one here, you will be able to see customers who bought this item also bought blank. So they also bought these books here. Now, you want to make sure that your keywords are lined up correctly, because if somebody comes here and they buys a book that is associated with this, they will automatically assume that that book is similar to the other book. If in any case that it is not related, somebody buys it, they will be frustrated and they will end up refunding your book. So you want to make sure that you choose the correct keywords and so forth. Now, you can also figure out, okay, this book is similar to mine. I'm going to go scroll down here and you can take a look at the Amazon bestseller categories and their rank. The lower the number, the better it is. That means that they're selling tons and tons and tons of these books. You can get an idea of what categories that they are located in. If you could take a look at the categories itself, like such, you can actually get an idea of how well these books are performing. So for the top 20, if we take a look at this one here, and we go to the Kindle version, we can see it's about 1 to 123. 123 is super high. That means they're selling a ton of books every single day. All right, so this gives us an idea that, okay, this category is indeed selling, but you want to make sure that that category is not too competitive either. So if you want to drill down deeper and you go to the top 100 and we take a look at the 100th book, it says 3,362. So these guys are probably selling about, I don't know, a couple hundred a month about. So not necessarily hard to break through, but it's a little bit more competitive. If you can find that the number 100 book is, say, for example, 10,000 or even 50,000, it'll probably be really easy to break through. But it also might mean that there's not a huge amount of buyers in that particular category. So that's just something to keep in mind. So this will give you an idea of different categories that you could potentially rank on just by looking at your competitors. Now, in terms of keywords, if you go to Amazon up to the top under the Kindle store, for example, and let's say, for example, that our book is about golden retriever training. And we see that there are 34 results. And we just take a look through here. The more reviews, the better. That means there is a buying market. If you think about it, not a whole lot of us actually leave reviews. So one review could mean hundreds or 200 or 300 worth of customers who've actually come in, and it may not. So it's really about clicking it and taking a look at the actual sales rank. Now, if we take a look at this specific keyword is golden retriever training. Now, as you're typing stuff, Amazon will actually tell you other options or suggestions that other people have typed in. So in this case, it's 14 results, not a whole ton of traffic. If you can get to the top, that's a plus, because then somebody looks at it, they're going to look possibly at the top 5 or the top 3. So you want to be at the top somewhere. So this gives you an idea of that specific, keywords and stuff like that. So you can take a look actually at the titles as well. So you got Golden Retriever training book, Golden Retriever. For Dummies book, and other things like that. So these are optional keywords that you can use as long as the keywords are related specifically to your book and they're not just keywords just to be keywords, then that's definitely a plus. But this area here is a really good way to figure out keywords that Amazon already knows people are typing in. So these are not just suggestions. These are suggestions based on people typing in the keywords. So for example, puppy training, 16 results. Got 4 results in terms of potty training. So there's only 4 books that are focused on potty training. So we got potty training, and some of these don't even have potty training in the title itself. It just has it in the book description. So that's why I say make sure that if one of your keywords is potty training, try to put it in the title. If you can't, try to put it in the description. And another thing that works really well is if you add a video as well, but that's another subject for a different day. So that's the way I would do keyword research. Now, some people may ask, well, can you use the Google Keyword Tool or the Keyword Planner tool to find keywords? In my opinion, I would not, simply because it's outside of the Amazon realm. I would focus on keywords that are showing up in this particular suggestions area. And then you can also take a look at, all these other books and see what kind of keywords they are using within their title and see if you can find similarities that actually relate to your book. And then sprinkle them within your landing page. And that's it. Hello and welcome to video number 4, reviews. And we're going to talk about how reviews can make it or break your sales. Reviews are very, very important. And if you think about how you think as well, and how your friends think, how your family thinks, they base their thoughts on a specific product on reviews. So if you had a family member who had a bad experience with the product, most likely you're not going to buy it. If you had a family member or friend who had a really, really good experience with a book or a product in general, then of course you might most likely will take the chance to buy it. So most people will basically skip a book on Amazon or a product with little or no reviews. So you want to kind of get at least about 5 reviews or more before you begin to really, really promote your book. Because if you promote your book and you have maybe 1 reviews or no reviews, and if that's the case, most people will not really take action because there's no social proof or herd mentality. Herd mentality basically means if you see a lot of people doing something, you'll begin to see more and more people attracted to, oh, hey, what are they doing? 100 people are lining in a line waiting on something. You're thinking, oh, what is happening over there? Let me go check it out. So same kind of mentality there. And reviews are critical, especially if you're not a known author. If you don't have your name and it's not branded, out there yet and you don't have a huge following, then frankly, reviews are going to be very, very important. But in terms of Amazon, you got to do it the ethical way. And when I say the ethical way, I mean you have to get real, genuine reviews, not fake ones that you have bought, but real ones. Because once Amazon finds out that it's fake, they're most likely going to delete your account. So you don't want to do that. You want to definitely avoid that. Because once they do that, there really is no way of appealing it. And then you're going to have to look for a different venue and different ways to sell your book. And you've spent all this time formatting it for Kindle or formatting it for CreateSpace, and you have to start all over again. So the first thing I want to do is talk about ways not to get reviews, and then I'm going to move on to ways to get reviews, and I'm going to actually go to Amazon later on and show you a little more strategies in that area. So these are definitely ways you do not want to get reviews. For example, paid reviews. Don't pay anyone, because if Amazon finds out, they are most likely going to delete your account. Now, how can they find out? Well, you'll see places like on Fiverr.com where people will promise a 5-star review if you pay them. Now, keep in mind, if Amazon happens to find that particular user's account has been giving reviews and reviews and reviews and lots of fake reviews, they may look at all the other accounts that it is associated with. So that's one way that they can find out. They have many other different ways, but I wanted you to be aware of that so that you understand that you don't want to risk it, because they do have ways of figuring this out. Another way not to get reviews is 5-star reviews in exchange for a copy of your book. It's not okay to go to people and say, hey, I will give you a book copy only if you give a 5-star review. Always state to them that you want honest reviews. But perhaps if you really want to do it in such a way that you could possibly improve your reviews, you could give them a review copy and say, hey, if you don't like anything in the book, just let me know. I'll go out and try to resolve it as best I can. And if you communicate with that person and that person comes back will say, hey, I don't like the fact that it hasn't been proofread, you can go out, fix the problem, come back and ask them to try to re-review it again. And at that time, most likely they're going to think, wow, this book author took my feedback and actually went back to the drawing board and fixed it. Now, you're not going to be able to do that with every single person out there, because some people in general are just picky. But like I said, no paid reviews, no 5-star reviews in exchange for a copy of your book. Basically, giving an incentive to give you a 5-star review. Exchanging reviews, this is not really a good practice either. Especially if someone's like, hey, I'll give you a 5-star review if you give me a 5-star review. And if they didn't actually read your book, then that in itself is quite unethical. So you definitely want to avoid that as well. Friends and family, this is a kind of a gray area, but this could backfire in a big way if Amazon ever finds out. The best way to get reviews are from people who actually buy your book. If they buy your book, it actually says in Amazon verified purchase, which means the person actually purchased the Kindle book or the CreateSpace book from your book sales page. That way, when some people look at the reviews, they actually see, oh, okay, this person actually bought the book off of Amazon. They are legit. So this is a gray area, but you definitely want to protect yourself as much as possible. And because you spend a lot of time formatting for Kindle or for CreateSpace. Here are the ways to get reviews. Your book real estate. And here's what I mean by that. At the very end of your book, inside of your book, what you might want to do is include a note saying, hey, if you like this book, please review the book and let me know what you think and get back to me. So you create some sort of interaction and a way for them to communicate with you. Bloggers. Bloggers are another great way to get reviews. And this kind of ties into the book blogging way of getting traffic, which I'll talk about later down the road. But many book bloggers who will read your book can leave a review with Amazon and, of course, other books sites that are selling your books and so forth. Because if you think about it, they are already leaving reviews about your books. So you could ask them, hey, okay, you're already leaving a review on your blog. Why don't you leave it on Amazon as well? Review copies. This kind of ties into what we talked about earlier, but you're just giving people review copies. Whether they want to leave reviews or not, that is up to them. They're not required to leave a review, but if they do, then that's awesome, and they can leave a completely honest review. And you can always say, hey, here's a review copy. It's not required, but I'd love it if you leave a review. And a lot of times the law of reciprocation works into this, because when you give something to somebody and they see value in it, they are most likely going to want to give value as well in the form of a good review. So you can use the law of reciprocation in this manner. There are other sites like kboards.com, goodreads.com, which I'll talk about more later down the road, and various Facebook pages that relate to your book's genre, where you can find people who would gladly take a review copy. Obviously, people who are interested in your book genre or topic are the main audience. You don't want to just give a review copy to someone who's not really interested in your book. Otherwise, they most likely will not like it, and they are more likely to give you a bad review. If you find somebody who likes the topic itself, they love it, they're fans of the topic, they're most likely going to give you a better review. So that's just something to keep in mind, to be congruent in who you give your review copies to. Giveaways is another great way to get reviews, which I will elaborate more later on. And this is a great way to get people to read and potentially review your book. Now, in terms of combating reviews, this is what I mean. If you get a 1-star or 2-star bad review, how do you deal with it? Or what about a 3-star review? 3-star reviews actually are not as bad as 1 to 2-star reviews, because people will actually look at the 1-star, the 2-star, the 3-star, and the 4-star reviews more than they will the 5-star reviews, especially people that are naturally skeptical. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, let me go ahead and show you how to combat bad reviews. So let's go ahead and hop on over to Amazon.com. So if we take a quick look at a book example here called A Room on the Broom by Julia Donaldson. This specific book, you can see that when you click on the book and click on reviews, you see the most helpful favorable review on the left hand side and the most helpful critical review on the right hand side. Now, the way that Amazon determines what is most helpful is at the very bottom of each and every one of these reviews, you'll notice a question that says, was this review helpful to you? If you click yes, then it will be the most helpful favorable review. If it's a 1-star, 2-star, or 3-star, then it will show up over here. Now, 5 stars, 4 stars, and 3 stars together are actually good ratings. Now, people think, oh, I got a 3-star. It's fine if you get a 3-star if the person mentions, something negative, but also something positive in the book, because you're always going to find something negative about a product. And that's something that people just realize. But I wouldn't necessarily worry if you have a few 3 stars, a few 2, or a few 1. If the majority of your reviews are 5 to 4 star ratings, then that's what matters. If the majority of your reviews happen to be 1, 2, and 3, you may want to look carefully as to what people are complaining about. Now, one thing I found to combat negative reviews is, for example, this one here. If you click on read the full review, if you are the book owner of the specific book, you can read this review and make a comment below. You can actually comment down if it's something like, this book has a lot of grammatical and spelling errors. What you can say is hey, I hired a professional. I thought they did a great job, but I decided to put it through. I've uploaded the new version, blah, blah, blah. And that would actually be good, because in that case, you have actually resolved the negative review. Now, you can't do that for every single review, like I said that earlier, but people actually look at the comments, and if they see that you are the book author and you have interacted with people and taken into consideration people's actual feedback, they are more likely to buy your book, even if it is a negative review. So that's a great way to combat negative reviews. Welcome to video number 5, social media. In this specific video, I'm going to talk about how to drive traffic through social media. Now, we've talked about conversions, we talked about reviews. Now it's time to begin marketing your book. Now, how do we do that? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is just go over the different types of social networks like Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, and YouTube. And I'm also going to show you different strategies that you can use specifically to market your book on Amazon. Now, Twitter, if you think about Twitter, it's more of a way to communicate with your fans. So it's a great tool to interact directly with your fans. Back in the day when there were, books, most people were really not able to interact with the author. And nowadays, with Twitter and Facebook and more, people can actually interact with the book author. Now, obviously, you're going to need to be spending time writing your books. But on the flip side of that, you need to spend a lot of time interacting with your fans. And that doesn't necessarily mean to interact with every single fan out there, but what that means is that if you interact with a few of them, other people that are fans as well will see that. And in their eyes, you will move up several levels because you are the type of author who is willing to interact with your fans. And then they will basically become book ambassadors promoting the books for you. So if you got a Twitter account, you tweet something, they retweet it, their friends retweet it, and it's just a nonstop snowball effect of book ambassadors. Now, Pinterest is a different way of using social media to promote your book. Now, Pinterest is a little bit different than Twitter in the sense that it's more about visual images. So the strategy here is basically about creating collections of books in your genre. So let me give you some examples. Pinterest, basically the way it works is that people create pin boards of their favorite subject matters. So for example, somebody could create a pin board about the best workout gear. And then what they would do is they would put all the best workout gear together in a collection. Now, very, very similar concept for this strategy. What I want you to do is specifically find books that are related to your book that may be good, may be getting a good amount of following, and then put them with your book. So for example, if your book is about cool running shoes, you might want to find other books that are related to cool running shoes. May not necessarily directly be a competitor, but maybe it's something similar that is related and that you can help them, they can help you, and vice versa. So if somebody is looking for a specific book, they find that book and they find that your book is related to cool running shoes, guess what? They are more likely to be interested in what you have to offer. So that's the strategy, is creating collections of books that are related to your book. Not necessarily directly related, but indirectly related. That brings us to Facebook. Facebook is a really, really great way to socially interact with your fans, because besides Twitter, you can upload images, you can do all sorts of things. Like, you don't have to worry about the 140 character limit. You can do a lot more with Facebook. Now, Facebook is perhaps one of the single most powerful social media websites for authors. So you definitely want to have a Facebook fan page, specifically you as an author. So if you're thinking about, well, should I create a Facebook fan page for every single one of my books? I would say a definite yes. So have one for you as a way to be that hub where you link to all of your other fan pages that are with your books and your book series. Now, to take advantage of other fan pages, what you want to do is you want to go to Facebook. You want to search for groups and fan pages devoted specifically to your niche or genre, especially those that focus specifically on books. What you can do is you can give away free copies and allow others to do a giveaway on their fan page as well. And Amazon's Kindle page allows authors to self-promote once each week. So you want to take advantage of all those Kindle owners. Now, one strategy that I found useful is if you go to Facebook and you log in with your Facebook fan page. So from that point, you go to other people's Facebook fan pages. You look at their comments and make sure that their comments and things are related to your specific niche and your specific book, and you simply comment or like their comments. If you go through and just like their comments, then what happens is whenever this is done, people will be notified up at the top of their own Facebook fan page that you have liked their comment or you have simply replied to their comment. Now, keep in mind that if they are interested in your specific niche or genre or topic, then they most likely will be interested in your book as well. And that's why I say target Facebook fan pages that are related to your book. So that's one awesome strategy that you can just start using to get a lot of eyeballs to your Facebook fan page. Now, on the flip side, you can have book trailers, and book trailers are a great way to market your book. And you can upload it to YouTube, and you can also upload it to the Amazon sales page for added conversions. Now, this doesn't have to be complex at all. I'd highly recommend that you have a simple video with some sort of music, a synopsis of your book, kind of like a brief summary of your book, and some images that will go along with it will work fine. Don't forget to share your book trailer on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, and any other social sites that you use, including the social networks related to books. And if you're wondering where in the world can I get a book trailer done, you can go to a site called fiverr.com. That's fiverr.com. Simply type in book trailer and you'll find a lot of results there. And it's a great way to get a book trailer completed in less than 5, 10, $15 or $20. And that way you're not paying an arm and a leg for a book trailer if you go elsewhere. So these are just some of the different strategies that you can use to utilize social media sites. If you just do the basic stuff, then you will be able to get the word out about your site. But you have to take action and you have to implement this stuff. Hello and welcome to video number 6, Book Social Networks. In this specific video, we're going to be focusing on social media networks that surround rabid book readers. What a better way than to go to sites that book readers go to that really want to know more about the books that they're reading. They want to find people that are reading those books and that might know other books that they would enjoy. So definitely want to tap into this resource as much as possible. There are 2 sites that we're going to be focusing on. The first one is called Goodreads.com. And that's a very, very well-known site. It has tons and tons of book readers there that are looking for books that they would enjoy. LibraryThing.com is another social network as well that focuses specifically on books. One thing you can do, especially with Goodreads.com, is do giveaways. But in addition to holding giveaways there, you can also visit the various groups and participate. You can help contribute. Don't spam, don't promote your stuff, but help them out and answer their questions. And there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. And I'll talk briefly about it in just a minute. Now, since groups are individually managed, each one has specific rules. So you want to make sure that you read those rules before you actually get started. Now let's take a quick look at these sites, and I'm going to point out a few things that you can go ahead and do right away and start driving traffic to your book sales page. A great way to get more eyeballs to your book is by giving away copies of your book. And you can do this by giving it away before you release your book. So you can see pre-release books are listed for giveaway by publishers and authors. And members can enter to win, and winners are picked randomly at the end of the giveaway. So as you can see here, 1,100 people have expressed interest in this book, and 6 copies are going to be available. So that's a great way to get people interested in your book and more eyeballs on to your book. And in a matter of doing research, you can also see what is most requested and kind of get an idea of what is the most requested books, the most popular authors, and to list a giveaway. It's really not hard to do. All you have to do is create an account and click on list giveaway and follow the steps. There are other ways to get more eyeballs on to your books. And the first thing you'll want to do is, of course, create an account and then fill in your profile so that it links to your books. Another thing you can do, or even get others to do, is to create what we call Listopia lists. These are lists that contain books that are falling under a specific niche. So for example, best books about creepy crawlies. And you can see a bunch of books about creepy crawlies. So if somebody's interested in that particular niche and they click on it, they will be able to find all the books that are pertaining to that particular list. And you can also contact those people who have started the list and see if you can get your book listed in there as well. What I found in terms of that strategy is the more specific you can get, the better, because people are going there specifically for example, best chicken soup for the sold books, or favorite books from my childhood. Now that's a little bit general compared to best chicken soup for your sold books, because who knows what their childhood could be. So that's just very, very general. And then books that should be made into movies, that might be good if you can get in there. But you can see that lists are a great way of getting more eyeballs and more traffic. It's very, very similar to having a Pinterest pin board. because you have a topic, and within the pinboard you have many different books in this case. So this is a great way to get a lot of traffic. You can get involved with the groups. I'd highly advise you to do so, and get to know people that are in your specific niche, and find authors that might be writing books similar to yours, and see what they've done and what they haven't done, and just brainstorm and interact and things like that. There's another site called librarything.com, and you can find groups to get involved with groups. And for example, let's say for example your book is science fiction, you can find science fiction fans, you can find subgroups within the main group of science fiction, like time travel and parallel worlds and things like that. So you can see that there's a lot of interaction going on. What I highly recommend that you do is find topics that relate specifically to your book and just get involved. Don't try to promote your book outright. Try to get involved and try to give some valuable feedback first. Build your reputation within that group, and then you can tell people about your book later down the road. The worst case scenario is you just go in and you start spamming everybody, telling people about your new book. That's just going to turn everybody off, so you don't want to do that. The key with social media is if you can just build a relationship with them, then they're probably going to want to find more information about you, and they're going to want to know a lot about your books and so forth. So these two sites, as you can see, there's many different avenues of different ways that you can take to generate traffic back to your book. Hello and welcome to video number 7, Book Bloggers. Blogging traffic and the power of recommendations. So niche bloggers typically review the books that they are interested in and nothing else. So I'd highly recommend, if all possible, that you only approach book bloggers in a specific niche. And the reason being is simply because their review could be good or bad. So if you try and build a rapport or a relationship with them beforehand, either join their lists, stay on their list for a few weeks, get to know them a little better, and then read their articles, communicate with them and things like that, and then contact them. Then at that point on, your approach is going to be less formal. It's going to be informal because you will be at that point in time know a little bit more information about the blogger, and the blogger will more likely be more receptive to you. So in that case, it will be easier to probably convince them to write a review versus you contacting them right off the bat and they not really know you. Now, the reason why I say contact book bloggers in a specific niche is because if you're in a specific niche, the person who is reviewing your book is more likely interested in your book. If they're not, they more likely are not going to be interested in your book, and most likely will give you a negative review. That's something that we have found. So be sure to read their rules carefully also before you submit your book to their blog. So I'm going to show you a few examples in just a minute. To find book bloggers in your genre and in your niche, basically go to Google and search things like book blog niche, and then the niche, of course, being your niche, and book reviews plus niche. So let me go ahead and show you how to do all of this. So what I'd highly recommend that you go ahead and do is hop on over to google.com and type in book blog directory, put a plus sign, and then put your niche. So let's say, for example, that our book is a science fiction book. So this is a great way to find book blog directories, or Directories filled with book bloggers, basically. So we're going to take a look at the top 4 links and see what we get. So this is science fiction and fantasy book blogs. So as you can see, there are tons and tons and tons of book blogs. Now, I don't recommend that you just pick and choose and go ahead and decide to go with a specific one. There is a little more research that we need to do. Of course, you'll need to figure out the exact niche. So if your science fiction book is not young adult, for example, in this case, I don't recommend that you contact these people unless they have a category that is not young adult science fiction, because more likely you're going to get denied. So you want to make sure that you do your due diligence beforehand. Now let's keep to this specific directory and let's take a look at a few of these bloggers, because we want to make sure that these bloggers are indeed getting eyeballs and getting traffic. And the one way to figure out if that is the case is by seeing if they have a good amount of interaction on their site. So for example, this post here has 2 comments and the other one has about 1 comment, no comments, and so forth. Now, what I'm looking for are blogs that have more interaction, as much interaction as possible, because the more means there are more possible potential buyers. And if you go to sites like this and they have like so many members, that might be a good determining factor. And see if the reviews are being posted on a regular basis. You also want to make sure if they are legitimate reviews. Some of these people basically grab the description from Amazon and that's it. So you want to make sure that everything follows the guidelines. For example, is it on a consistent basis? Number 2, is it an actual review with a rating and everything like that? Or is it being grabbed elsewhere? And another way to figure out if it's being grabbed elsewhere is simply highlighting a sentence and then right-clicking and then searching Google for that particular sentence. So that's a great way to figure out if it is unique or not, basically. And then, of course, finally, making sure that the blog has comments and interaction. Now, if you want to find another different route to take, you can say book blog reviews plus science fiction, or whatever niche that you have. I can click on this here. I'm not sure if this is an actual blog. Yes, it is. It's got 2 comments, and this is today. That's a good sign. 2 comments here, 1 comment there. Not a whole lot of comments. And just because it doesn't have as many comments doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have eyeballs. But in my opinion, the more interaction, the better, because when people come to you and they read your book, they are more likely to leave a review. If you find people who tend to interact a lot, those are the type of people that you want to attract. So you can do that. You can do book reviews plus science fiction, or whatever niche that you want to use. We see the sci-fi guys book review, and you'll notice a lot of sites use blogspot.com. So you can even go to blogspot.com and do a search in their search engine as well. So we can see here 1 comment. It looks like a lot of reviews are being posted on a consistent basis, so that's a good sign. That's a good sign. But I would highly recommend that you go through them, make sure you do your due diligence. Don't jump the gun and just contact them. But make sure that you do your due diligence. Make sure that you're getting a blog that is getting traffic, and then of course you can contact them. Hello and welcome to video number 8. We're going to talk about giveaways. Giveaways is a great way to market your book, simply because if you can find someone with a huge following, whether it be Twitter lists, Facebook lists, Pinterest lists, or even email lists, you want to find somebody that has a large amount of people following them that is related to your book topic. You don't want to find somebody just to find somebody, or find somebody who has a big list. You want to find somebody who has a big list that is related to your topic. Otherwise, they're not going to be interested, and even if you get them on board, their list and following is not going to be interested as well. So this way you get a lot of targeted traffic, but you have to do it right. And this benefits you because your book will be brought to the attention to all of their fans. So this is very similar to the Goodreads giveaways that I talked about in the previous videos. Now, if you think about it, things that people will want are something related to your book's theme. Other items that are related to your book's niche or genre. Or even autographed copies of your book in print. But if there is one rule of thumb that you have to follow, you have to make sure that whatever you give is related to your book or is related to whatever they are interested in. If you can do that, more and more people will be interested in your book as well. And you may want to include items for several winners in order to increase interest so that people think they have a better chance of winning. So instead of just one, maybe you can include 5 different giveaway gifts. You can do monetary giveaways like Amazon.com gift cards, or gift cards related to Kindle or the specific niche. Now, monetary giveaways are great. They can get a lot of eyeballs. But I would start out by giving away, your copies of your book and other things that may not cost as much money, but yet are something that your fans would definitely want. Then you could test out monetary giveaways. Test it out, see which one works the best, and then go whichever with whatever works the best. Hello and welcome to video number 9, which is your buyers list. Building your following and letting your buyers and fans know about your future updates, your future books is crucial. If you can build your buyers list of fans and your book readers, then it'll make your life easier, especially when you launch a new book. Plus, your fans are going to want to know about your future books. So that's what we're going to do. Now, Amazon doesn't really make it really easy for you to build your list, so you're going to have to get all creative and find ways to do it. But I want to make sure that I point you in the right direction so that you understand what to do. So this is basic email marketing 101. You basically want to build an email list in order to market as effectively as possible. Now you have Twitter, you got Facebook, you got Pinterest and other social media outlets that you can tell people about updates, but email goes straight to the email box and it's a great way to interact with your customers as well, outside of the social media realm. Now, if you manage to get them onto your list, you basically have more chances to encourage them to buy your book and let them know about your future releases. But how do you get them onto your email marketing list? Basically, the way it works is you join a third-party service that allows you to build your list and basically collect the email addresses of your buyers. And then what you can do is use the system to email them later. But before you can do that, you have to get their email address. Just asking people for their email address usually is not as easy as it sounds. So you want to make sure that you can give something away for free in exchange for them to sign up on your email list. Let me give you some ideas on different things that you can give away for free. You have to give something related to your niche of your book or genre of your book away. Because if you give something else away for free that's not related to your book, then they're probably not going to be as interested. So the best way to do that is to figure out what is related to your niche. Now, in terms of fiction, like children's books or just fiction novels and things like that, just some ideas are like games, something fun, something that's related to your niche. And you can get creative as a book author. Let's say, for example, that you have a fiction mystery novel and you tell people, sign up on my email list and you will get the mystery secrets. That is, maybe you had a character who had this mystery secret list and you didn't really elaborate much on inside the book, and people are wondering what is on the mystery list. So maybe you can give them that list. So, and I know this sounds kind of cheesy, but you really have to get creative. You really have to think out of the box here in terms of fiction. Or you can say, okay, you can interact with me if you join my list. That's something that you have to think about, because that obviously will take some time out of your busy schedule. So if you don't want to do that, you just got to think about something that's creative and something that people will want for free. Nonfiction, on the other hand, is a little bit easier because you can simply add some complimentary training to your book. Maybe you can say something like, well, you've read the book. If you want some step-by-step checklists or complimentary video training of the book, simply sign up on my email list. Or ways to interact with you. So fiction, you got to get a little bit creative. Nonfiction is a little bit more straightforward. Now, what about services that you can use to build your list? Well, let me hop on over and show you exactly which services are available to you. You can pick and choose which one you want to go with and start building your list. So the first recommended email marketing service is called GetResponse.com. I personally use this and it's great. It's very, very cheap and very, very easy to use. So you can start out by paying $15 per month, and then you can scale it as you grow your list larger and larger. And another cool thing is if you find certain buyers, they're not opening your emails, you can simply delete them and simply grow a list of people that are actually clicking your email links. So you're able to track, who is actually viewing your emails, have they clicked it, and you can do a whole lot with GetResponse.com. Another site is called Aweber.com. Aweber.com has been around for a long, long time. Actually, they were one of the first few email marketing type systems out there. So very, very easy to use. They have a lot of information on how to get started and how to get set up so that you can start building your list. There are other ones. I have not used these. MailChimp.com is one. It's very popular. iContact.com is another one, and ConstantContact.com is another one as well. I have not used the last three. I have used Aweber and GetResponse and can say they both are very, very good. GetResponse is probably cheaper in the beginning and, in my opinion, probably the best. But I wanted to give you different options so that you can take a look and see which one you feel fits you the best.